Welcome back. The Listening Post seldom misses an opportunity to extol the virtues of the internet, which are numerous. However, not all of our viewers can see what we're talking about. What if you're a citizen of a country whose government censors internet content and you can't get access even to some of the most popular sites like YouTube? This week, a special report on how to get around those controls so you can see what your government doesn't want you to see. The Listening Post's Simon Ostrovsky now with a report that includes the names of the Western corporations helping the authorities to black out your access.
Imagine a situation where you're trying to message a friend in your favorite chat program, but your chat buddy doesn't seem to be receiving some of your messages. If you're in the US or France or any other democracy, you might put the problem down to a bad connection or a glitch. But if you're located in one of the world's many authoritarian states that want total control of the internet, your chat browser could be recognizing banned, politically sensitive keywords and blocking your messages on purpose. In most countries, the rise of the World Wide Web has been seen as a force for good, giving people across the globe access to a seemingly bottomless pool of information. But in countries like China and Iran, which control television and the newspapers, the freedom of the internet is seen as a threat. Countries throughout Asia and the Middle East have done their best to increase controls on what internet users can and can't see. More recently, they've begun to use sophisticated technology, often provided by the same Western companies that gave us the great communications tools we use every day, to control what people say to each other.
The governments are more and more skillful in not only repressing the freedom of information, but also following tapping into the communication and taking the evidence from this way.
Wojtek Bogusz is an internet security specialist who works for Frontline Defenders. It's an organization that teaches activists how to get around censorship on the web.
We do not have a golden bullet. We don't have a magic wand to just twist the situation completely for a human rights defender. It is a process of securing each step.
There's no perfect solution for getting around net censorship. But luckily, Bogusz is not the only one looking for ways to circumvent the government controls. Groups like Frontline and the Sesui Coalition are doing their best to proliferate technology that will allow ordinary users to get around the firewalls governments put in place to limit their citizens' access to information. In many countries, if you're trying to access a site deemed offensive by the authorities, you might come across a message like this or like this instead of the site you were looking for. Often, it's a page that draws attention to the human rights abuses taking place in your homeland, like, say, Amnesty International's homepage, or a Western news website. Some countries block video sharing sites like YouTube, or even social networks like Facebook.
Well, there's a number of different types of tools, but in general, they allow people to reach pages that are blocked or filtered in their respective countries.
By making it so that they can pretend that their computer is actually in a different country?
Yes, you could say that, by going through a third-party site. So it looks to the firewall in their country as if they're going to a different site than the one that's blocked, and then that site shows them the content they're looking for.
The programs that allow you to do that are freely available to download on the internet.
In the area of bypassing the censorship, we propose Tor. This is an idea of hiding your requests. So instead of contacting one server, you're contacting a network of proxies. From the point of view of your local government, it will look like you're accessing some computer in the internet. But in reality, you may be looking for pages like Amnesty International pages or news agencies.
It's easy for authoritarian states to censor their national media because they own it. But how does a country that may not be too technologically savvy get its hands on all the sophisticated equipment needed to censor websites from around the world?
It's clear that some of these countries that are implementing internet filtering would not be able to do so without commercial software.
Many of the free speech advocates I spoke to said big-name Western companies share at least part of the blame.
I don't think you can sort of excuse yourself as a Western company that builds filtering software that enables regimes to do this filtering, because A lot of these regimes would not be able to implement filtering unless they could buy commercial solutions.
One of the names that kept coming up was San Francisco-based Cisco Systems.
If you talk about Cisco, yes, they are responsible for what they built in China, because they helped the Chinese authorities to build all the internet infrastructure. American employees from Cisco went to China and to say, okay, that's the network, if you want to filter, just do like that. I mean, we condemn that totally.
In its defense, Cisco told the Listening Post,
Cisco does not in any way participate in the censorship of information by governments. Some countries have chosen as a matter of national policy to restrain or limit access to information on the internet to its citizens. Cisco has not specifically designed or marketed products for any government or any regional market to censor internet content from citizens.
One of the line of defense is that, and they sell the equipment just to anybody, and they have no control whatsoever upon how this equipment will be used. But there are evidences that show that Cisco, for example, is cooperating to much greater extent with the Chinese government than just selling the normal off-the-shelf equipment.
Critics of Cisco have pointed to a 2002 presentation the company made for its China staff outlining the Chinese government's goals for Cisco's technology, namely to, quote, combat Falun Gong evil religion and other hostiles. And the complicity of Western corporations doesn't end with supplying hardware to authoritarian states.
They censor text messages in their instant messaging systems.
But Google told us
There's no truth at all in the accusation that we censor Google Talk messages in China. Google is never happy to self-censor content.
but it acknowledged that it removed links from the search results on its Chinese search engine. Evidence has emerged that internet firms cooperate with authoritarian regimes more closely than previously imagined. In 2004, the Chinese journalist Xi Tao was imprisoned for posting government orders forbidding journalists to mark the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square uprising. Media reported the evidence used to track him down was provided by Yahoo. Xi's 10-year sentence ends in 2014.
If I would be in their position, I would just try to avoid any business, commercial relationship with those governments, because this inevitably puts them into doubtful position.
The Listening Post asked Yahoo if it was still its policy to supply the personal data of cyber dissidents to authoritarian regimes. But the company didn't respond to our specific question and gave us a general response, which included the statement that Yahoo advocated for the release of dissidents imprisoned for expressing their political views online. So if you're a blogger or a journalist behind the Great Firewall, be careful where you post. It's not just your government that might be watching.
Simon Ostrovsky reporting. Now, if you want to find out more about how to get around web censorship, you can check out some useful links that we've posted on our Facebook page. Either that or email us at listeningpost@aljazeera.net and we'll get that information to you. Time now for more Global Village Voices on how to beat governments who block access to the web.
It would be a much more interesting approach to encourage technology companies, perhaps the same companies that produce filters, to also produce technologies that go around censorship, that could avoid blocks, that could access information, that could mask the origin of a dissident post. Of course, there should also be diplomatic efforts, international pressures on authoritarian regimes to allow an opening up of the internet.
Finally, Twitter is one of the latest social networking crazes and therefore is beyond the comprehension of most people over the age of 30. It's clear to us here at the Listening Post that as a news delivery system providing instant on-the-ground updates via SMS texting, Twitter does represent a breakthrough. But what about all the other people who tweet all the time? What's the point of that? The people at Current TV threw together a little animation on Twitter that asks the same question. We're not sure if they came up with an answer, but we've made this look into the Twitter sphere our Internet Video of the Week. We'll see you next time at the Listening Post.
Just got to work, sitting in my chair now. Anyone know any good apps from my iPhone?
Craig, what are you doing?
I'm Twittering. Did you get my tweets? I just tweeted all over the place.
Uh-huh. What's Twitter?
It's the latest social networking micro bloggy thingy.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Damn it, Darren! You are a young, hip, tech-savvy 20-something, and I will not let you turn into my father! Come on!
Where are you taking me?
Into the Twitter sphere!
Whoa.
With Twitter, you can tell everyone what you're doing or thinking at all times, no matter how trivial, mundane, or embarrassing.
Watching TV with my cat. I forgot how much I like pickles.
Why are you doing this?
Because it's like I'm hanging out with my friends all the time.
But if they were really your friends, wouldn't they call you personally to see how you're doing? None of you have any friends!
You summoned the fail whale.
What's the fail whale?
It means we're disconnected. When we're disconnected, we can't Twitter.
People! You do exist! You're addicts! You need help!
You're right! We wasted our lives!
Oh, Craig, are you alright? It's gonna be okay.
I've got to Twitter about this.
Ugh,